suffering from invisible illnesses often find themselves being dismissed or not taken seriously. We need to bring visibility to these ailments, but more importantly, we need to explore how to improve their quality of life. We recently sat down with disability advocate and author Karolina Kristina to discuss using alternative treatments such as cannabis to manage chronic illnesses. She's an ambassador for the Crohn's Colitis Foundation, the author for Self-Care for Spoonies, and uses cannabis to help manage her medical conditions. Let's learn.
Again, I was very lucky to be living in the state of Massachusetts. The first time that I really got into it was right after I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, actually for the second time, in 2015. My number one symptom that I just can't get rid of is nausea. I've tried every drug on the market, through the IV, through injection, through everything since I was 8, and nothing ever worked for me. And once I started, I got sicker actually with arthritis and was in even more pain, and really needed to find different ways to manage the pain because I wasn't going to get any form of a pain medication. And also, kind of living in Massachusetts, we're like sort of at the center of the opioid crisis. So I didn't want to play with that. I didn't want to take that chance because I knew that this was going to be an illness that I was going to be dealing with for my entire life, right? Wasn't going to be just like a couple of months where I need to use this and then I'm going to feel better. So I was really looking for something that was sustainable for me. And that's kind of how I expanded my understanding of cannabis, and started moving more into like a one-to-one, looking into CBD, looking into THCA and other cannabinoids and how do those impact me. And, it's been like 5 years now. So I have 5 years of experimenting. But yeah, it was originally that nausea that had me turn to something else because I had looked forever for some form of relief. And that was what really changed for me. Wow. I haven't written anything down, and I haven't put anything out there or shared anything, but it's definitely a meditative experience for me. Often I'll smoke before I do a long, hour-long meditation, which really helps me calm down and again center and focus on the task at hand, which is to really to unwind and to recenter. But that's such an excellent idea that you just gave me an idea to put together some form of meditation, because it is a time when you stop in your day and you're connecting with a natural plant and herb. And I almost always have my crystals on hand, and I clear the room, whether with sage or Palo Santo, and it is a very meditative experience for me. And it's every single time I engage with medical cannabis, I'm very aware of how much of a privilege it is to have access to this miracle plant that so many people have had their lives ruined over because of unfair drug policies and the war on drugs. So I am always overwhelmed with gratitude when I take part in it. Like I said, whether it's just the simple access that we have in our state in Massachusetts, or, the fact that I am privileged with my skin tone to be able to engage in it in a less stigmatized way, and to now finally have legal access to it. So that's never lost on me when I'm medicating. So it's absolutely a very long answer to your question, but it's absolutely a meditative experience. I always say, for people who, haven't really experienced medical cannabis before, I say it's the difference between me laying in bed all day, feeling miserable, in pain, nauseous, depressed because I'm in this state. It's the difference between that and now we don't go places, but going to a museum or going to dinner with a friend or something, that's those activities and things that made me happy I couldn't engage in because I was in so much pain. And to have access to that quality of life is just, it's awesome. It's an immense privilege. Yeah. Yeah, that's where CBD really comes in, like a one-to-one comes in, I think strains like Citrique and Orange Tide and Clementine, those all happen to be citrusy, but but those are really strains that are great for me for during the day. I also, when I was in California for a mini honeymoon, I was able to go to a couple of dispensaries there, and California is far more advanced than Massachusetts is when it comes to cannabis. And I was able to try this transdermal patch that was really focused on THCA, which is a non-psychoactive, cannabinoid that really, for me, just really helped with pain and anxiety, and I just had no high whatsoever, and it's awesome. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to find too many products, or really any products at all, that kind of are just focused on THCA so far in my area, but I figured out that there was actually concentrate for, or rather wax and shatter for dabbing that had, very high THCA content in it. And that's like my go-to for during the day if I need to mellow out and still want my brain to be there. That's where I kind of view my privilege as a tool, because if I'm out there talking about smoking weed, and I'm a face of being a stoner, right? This is what weed consumption looks like, I'm gonna force it on everyone. I'm gonna break the stigma as much as I can. I have that ability to, but it's a very, very, very valid question. And that's where I think you just have to approach it and approach people with it as medicine. It is medicine. It is not, I have such an issue with recreational marijuana or marijuana being connected to alcohol at all, as if it's just a drug, which it should not even be in the same class, right? It's so totally different. You can't put it in the same class whatsoever, because it is a medication. It saves people's lives. And, I think people who don't, support medical cannabis are unbelievably privileged, because they clearly haven't been put in the position where they are so desperate to feel better. They will do anything to feel better.